Happy Veterans Day, Calhoun High School. I'm Coach Long, and I'm here with two of my favorite veterans, Jennifer Smith and Scott Marcus, and we're coming to you here from the studio at WCHS, and I wanted to have a conversation with them about being a veteran, so you can get in their head a little bit and understand their story. Thanks for coming down and visiting with us. This is awesome. Chill bumps, the whole thing. Because I know this is probably not your favorite thing to do, is plot in front of the camera and tell your story, but I'm excited for us to get to share some things again with our students and our teachers and kind of our community. So, yeah, I know this is exciting for you. It's exciting for me.
Thank you.
There you go. So, to get this thing rolling, is there anything that's unique about your veteran story? Or, is it just, hey, here's my story? Or is there something really, that's pretty unique?
You go ahead.
I don't know. I think that most veterans are going to have stories that are really out there that you would never think are really true. One of my favorites that is just a horrifying memory, and it was, I guess because it was so silly. They literally took the time in our training to bring in cow manure, and I'm not even totally sure that it was all cow, to be honest with you. And they laid it out on this giant field. I mean, after the fact, we found out it was like 300 yards. And the commander went to the other side with a megahorn. I mean, it was that long of a field. And he had let it bake in the hot sun for hours. It was 104 degrees. I'll never forget this. It was a heat cat 5. We weren't even supposed to be outside. They turned on the sprinkler system.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And then they told us to low crawl to him from one side to the other. And, just for fun, let's clarify, low crawl does not mean like on your elbows. That means dragging your face through it. So at the time, I'll never forget, I was the platoon sergeant. And so I'm in charge of motivating, everybody. And I didn't know what to do. And so I finally I gave up and I was like, let's go, like started screaming. And I'll never forget one of my men. He looked at me, he was like, yeah, Wilson, because that was my name at the time. And he took off at a run, and he literally dove into this giant puddle of cow crap and did a slip and slide all the way through it. And everybody just started sliding.
There we go.
And then the commander was like, y'all are nasty, and threw it down and went inside. But it was over, we won, it was so funny. That was pointless. I have no idea, but that was pretty nasty.
That's some quality motivation if you can get
That was nasty. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got so many stories, and a lot of them I can't tell. Thinking back on the gas chamber is always a funny one, but that's really snot and body fluids you didn't even know you had coming out. But
it's like getting really hot wings, just totally different.
That's nasty.
But one that stands out, well, I guess among a bunch of them is in the bottom of a tank. I drove the tank for a few years, and down in the bottom you can't get out until they allow you to get out till you get finished, and you can pop the hatch and crawl out. And so I'd be down there for many, many, many hours at a time, and I'd have to pee myself. And I couldn't flip over because it was too tight. I mean, you're in a very confined space, so I just have to pee myself.
Just gotta do your business, just like an astronaut.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank goodness nothing else ever kicked in. But that would have been a good story if it hadn't. So.
No, they would have added it to what I had to cough. Just thanks for the donation.
That's awesome. Oh, wow.
Lord.
So, on a kind of a different note, as educators, you look at, the country as a whole, and everybody generationally feels these kind of things. Yeah. What do you as veterans think, hey, this country could use some more of something? What do you two look at and say, we could use some more of this as a country?
I think unity. I think that in so many ways we're a country divided for reasons that are not really justified. And I think that was one thing that when I was in the military, that was never a question. You didn't have to ask yourself, does the person next to me, brother, sister, whoever, have my back in whatever I'm doing? And that, I think, is why America has such a great driving military force, is that, we are all all in, all the time, all together. And I think that if the country
Yeah.
took that and said, yes, we're going to have this common goal and we're driving for it, I honestly think it would be a truly unstoppable force.
I agree. Something that I've thought of a lot is one thing that you and I have in common is that, you know, I hate to even use the word because it's not like we suffered horribly, but, you know, there was quite a bit of suffering. and
Intentional.
Yeah.
And I'm hesitant to say that because I know there are guys that experience so much
Right,
worse.
right.
But in comparison to your average citizen, you know, we had to put up with stuff that probably our prisoners don't even put up with at
True.
times. And if more people had to do without food for a while and do without sleep for
Sleep.
long
Oh,
periods
jeez.
and go without a shower for a week or two or so
Mm-hmm.
in 105-degree weather and, you know, do without air conditioning and heat and all those things, I think we would be a more grateful country.
Yeah.
I see so much complaining and so much whining from so many people who have got it so good and they don't realize how
I
good
don't
they
realize,
have it.
yeah, I agree.
That if everyone had to endure a little bit more, then they would be more thankful for the air conditioning or the heat and the amount of food that we have and all the things that we take for granted. So I think that's something, at least I think, very rarely are you going to hear a veteran complain a whole lot about being in a nice building with a full belly.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, that's that's two great insights. One of the reasons we wanted to have you here, no, really, seriously, for that. So, last question. This is a tough one, I know, because there's probably a bunch of people that you would say, hey, this person. Who is a veteran that you admire or that inspired you the most? Tough question.
You know, honestly, my true love for the military started when I went on my 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. And I remember I went to the Vietnam Wall, and I actually found, I didn't know it at the time, I did a lot of research because I got so interested. I had 2 great uncles who fought, and their names were on the wall, and I did not realize it until I had gone there. And that was part of the assignment, you know, to see. And that got me digging. So that's really what started my journey, I think. So, you know, history aside, you know, not people through history that we always see, but more personally.
Yeah.
I really didn't have anybody other than them and my uncle
Yeah.
who served. I mean, no one, other than my uncle, very close to me, no one did. And so when I swore in, to be completely honest, I was alone. My family was not there. The sergeant who went with me to MEPS actually videoed it for me because they did not come, and I don't think it was because they didn't want to support me. I honestly think they thought that if they didn't come that I would change my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm doing this. Like, this is something that I feel convicted about. And so I think that my sergeant at the time was somebody I looked up to, that I admired for getting me through that point in my life. And then once, I remember when I was at basic, I looked up to, his name was Drill Sergeant, well, actually it was Drill Sergeant Calhoun, and Potter, and he was so rough on us, you know. I mean, it was a stereotypical, but I mean really rough. And at the end, I remember he came to me and he said, I want you to find you, and I want you to be all you can be.
Yeah.
And so I think those, and the last one would be Captain Lee. She really, I remember when I finally told her I was wanting to go to OCS, and the next day, 3 a.m., she woke me up and she said, all right, then we're doing night land lab, let's go. You know, that wasn't part of the program. You weren't supposed to do that. And she's like, we're doing it. Like, if you want to do it, we're doing it, you know. And the fact that she believed in me that much. And so those were the people I thought, you know, if they see something in me that I'm not really sure I see in myself, those are the ones who really stuck with me, you know, on a personal note. So I think those guys. And then, of course, the people that I actually get to see every day, like Dr. Marcus, because I'm like, ooh, I just love him.
I have to throw out a few names. First Sergeant McGill, who was just the best leader. It's just unbelievable how good that man was, and how he was able to motivate people and be so stinking nice.
Yeah.
But we knew that you know, he had all of our backs all the time, and he was great. When I first went in, he was an inspiration to me. And then my brother, my younger brother, he put up with a bunch of stuff, and then I don't want to get emotional, but I see these. It's a wide berth here, but you see these little old men
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that are wearing their army hat, and you see them pedaling around, and they're 70, 80, 90 years old, and you know they put up with a bunch of crap either in World War II or Vietnam, and then I think about my little stuff that was nothing in comparison, and the things that they endured, and now people just look at them as a little old man.
Yeah.
And nobody cares about them, and so those guys are what I think makes this country great.
Amen to that.
And I admire them so much. So I hate to get emotional, but
Oh, hey.
but I see those little guys, and and I go hold the door open for them,
Yeah.
and I tell them thank you for your service,
Yeah.
and pat them on the back, and it makes them smile a little bit, because I think most people just look at them as a little old man, and there's so much more.
Well, if there was anything that's worthy of emotion, I agree with you, that's it. Because of what they have done for all of us that we have no idea about. The movies probably don't even come close to capturing it. Well, thank you both for your time, for your service, and for your friendship, and for what you do here at Calhoun High School.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
And thanks for watching.
What are your goals this season?
I want to get Offensive Player of the Year. I want to win state and mainly beat Cartersville.
How do you feel about the team this year?
I feel like we can go far this season, even get us a little ring before I get up out of here.
What is it like being a senior?
It's crazy. Everything went by so fast. Started off going off slow. Wish I was here. No, I wish I wasn't, but that's life.
What are your plans after high school?
Go to college, graduate, have a career.
What was the inspiration for the quarantine box?
Well, the times that we're living in, if someone is ever in close contact with someone who has shown symptoms or tested positive for COVID-19, they have to quarantine for 14 days. So we wanted to make sure that our children were safe from this, from the North Pole, and make sure that the elves don't bring any viruses into our households. So of course, we need to make sure that our elves are quarantined appropriately in order to keep our kids safe and keep it from not spreading around.
Is the North Pole strand of the coronavirus deadly?
The North Pole strand of the coronavirus is unique. You see, if you contract that version of the coronavirus, then it's a possibility that you could grow elf ears. And we do not need a whole generation of children with elf ears.
What goes into creating a quarantine box?
So first, Santa will make our box over here, and he'll use the best wood that he can find from some of the trees in the North Pole. And he will get all the elves to nicely cut every single little slit in it and put it together. Then Santa also will send us the plexiglass that covers your elf. That way your elf cannot give you any viruses from it. And then us over here, all we do is just put our little quarantine on there to make sure that you know not to touch it for 14 days.
All right, welcome to our administrator moment. Our special guest this week is Miss Jamie Garrett, assistant principal at Calhoun High School, and we're going to have a conversation in our administrator moment to help you get to know Miss Garrett a little better. I know Miss Garrett for, a long time now, and we're going to talk about her winding path in education and what she does here at Calhoun High School, because there's a lot. I personally know you do so much here that people have no idea you do, and you are truly one of the pillars of Calhoun High School.
Well, thank you.
That's my personal opinion, and not just mine, but a lot of other people's too.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Welcome to
very
our
much.
administrator
Well,
moment.
Thank you, and thank you for having me today. I'm happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Cool. So I know about your winding path in education. Could you share with us about how you became an administrator and what made you want to become an administrator?
Okay. Well, from the time I was just a young girl, I knew I wanted to be an educator, but being an administrator was not really something that was on my radar. I think along the way, starting my career teaching 4th grade, and then someone saw something in me, and I kind of transitioned over at the elementary school to the media center. And then from there, the assistant principal job became open at the complex whenever Mark Feuerbach left, and they decided to combine the two schools. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
And was there for a few years, and then Dr. Taylor saw something in me. She wanted me to give the high school a try, so here I am. So I think along the way, in every role, not just assistant principal, but I think there's always been someone who has seen something in me
Sure.
that maybe I didn't see in myself.
So it wasn't really something you said, oh wow, I really
No,
want to be a principal.
honestly, once I started going back to get to graduate school, for a while I thought I wanted to get into counseling. And so
See that.
now really at the high school, what I do, I work very closely with the counselors. So I think a lot of that, it kind of ties together.
Sure.
So.
Well, speaking of all the things that tie together with your role as assistant principal, what are your main responsibilities if you had your job description things here at Calhoun High School? What are your main responsibilities here at the high school?
Okay, well now that middle school and high school has kind of split with our own groups of administrators, it has changed a few things. So when you look at our admin team now, of course we have Dr. Coon serving as the principal of the high school, and then Mr. Hawley and myself split that assistant principal role. Mr. Hawley takes over more of the discipline aspect with the athletics, and then so for me that kind of leaves the curriculum and instruction components.
The school day stuff.
Which is a lot, but again we are a team, so we
Right.
all kind of pull our weight with that. But I would say the biggest responsibility is going to deal with scheduling, and that is a full-time job in itself.
Especially in 2020.
Yes.
Scheduling never ends.
Yeah, it never ends. You're exactly right. Just Friday, I was making changes to schedules because we had 9 new students coming back to campus
Right.
today from Cola Senior. So this year definitely has been a little bit challenging, and I think it's forced my role to change just a little bit. But I would say the master scheduling, so not only student schedules, but teacher schedules as well.
Sure.
So that whole process, and it's ongoing.
So with having to handle the academics umbrella, what do you most enjoy about that role as assistant principal?
I love being in the classrooms.
Yeah.
Just seeing the good things that are taking place. We have wonderful teachers who bust their tails,
Yeah.
you know, to make sure that they're meeting the needs of their kids. So I love it when I'm in those classrooms and just really seeing the students engaged in the learning process. I love to kind of see when those light bulbs go off
yeah.
in their head. I think that's very rewarding. And then just when you see not only the students but the teachers just enjoying what they're doing.
Sure.
You know, whether that's in the classroom or outside of the classroom, and being successful.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of the highlight.
Highlights. Those are great highlights. So as with every job, there are some things that are uniquely challenging and maybe even difficult. What are the things? What's most challenging for you as assistant principal?
Oh, I think just managing it all. It's a lot, and you can have a plan for the day. But then that plan is thrown out the window once you walk in the door. Just today, I had a plan in place, but then we had several teachers who called in sick. So that kind of, you know, I had to put what I had originally planned on the back burner and work on just coverage for teachers and just little things. You can never have a day of doing exactly what you initially had planned for that day. So that's a challenge, and just trying to, I guess, juggle all of those responsibilities, and just, you know, at the end of the day, we just have to make sure we're doing what's right and what's best for our kids.
And that
So I
sometimes
try
is
to
really difficult.
absolutely, and you just have to go home, and if you can say that you did the very best that you could do and what's right by our students, then it was a good day.
Yeah, for sure. I know from a teacher perspective, the way the schedule has changed, the way teachers' plannings are a little different. There are less options, fewer options for you to be able to manage things. So that's challenging.
It is. It's just a challenging year in general. We've had a lot to go on, and a lot of changes this year. So it's been a challenge for the students. It's been a challenge for the teachers, for the administrators. I think from the the ground up, it's been
everybody.
It's been very challenging.
Well, fortunately, we're in November, so hopefully we're going to get
fingers crossed.
Yes, right. Yes. All right. So last question for you: what's one thing that you wish people knew about what you do? If they could see behind the curtain of Jamie Garrett, so to speak, what's one thing you wish people got to see and got to know about what you do?
I think maybe just the scope of it. It's a 24-hour, 24/7 job. Just because the school day ends at 3:30, my day does not end at 3:30. I try to get out of the building at least by 5. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it does not. But even at home, continually just working and getting ready for the next day. So it's just it's a 24/7 job, just with answering emails from teachers, students. I have a lot of students who email. So just, I guess, keeping up with all of that, it's very, very time consuming. I wouldn't change it for anything. I love it and I love what I do, but I think just it's not a 7:30 to 3:30 job.
And I know all the things you do. And
it's not for any of us, but yes.
All right, so speaking of contact, how do people, if people have questions for you, want to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
Okay, well, they can always stop by my office, just in the main office, but email. It's just garrettj@calhounschools.org, or a lot of the students use the CCS jackets, so garrettj@ccsjackets.org. Awesome. And I love getting emails and talking and communicating with our students as well. So
perfect.
Look forward to hearing from some of them.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you for your time today. I want you to be able to get back to your busy day. We really appreciate your time, and thanks for spending time with us on Calhoun Plus and letting people get to know you a little bit.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all that you do, and all to those students who are putting Calhoun Plus together. It's great to show the Calhoun community the awesome things going on in our school building. So thank you.
Absolutely. Here comes some more Calhoun Plus.
I just think it's for everyone's best interest.
If it keeps others safe, I'm alright with it.
Fine. I don't think that's that much of a problem. I think
it's there to protect us all. Wearing a mask if it's for my safety.
Thanks, Dawn. I don't even know where I'm wearing it right now.
Because we're like sitting next to each other, and we're also walking in the halls next to each other, and it's just, you're still gonna get it no matter what. But I mean, if it makes you feel safe, I mean, just do it.
Well, I think everyone is doing the best they can. It's really undetermined, but I think as long as everybody just follows the guidelines, everything should be okay, and we should get it taken care of as soon as possible.
A year, because I'm still mature, but so I'm just gonna say a year.
Some people think it's at the end of this year or later, but I might say anything because I don't know.
Probably, I hope it'll end soon, but realistically, that's probably not going to happen. I suspect probably at least until the next semester. I think it will always be a thing that just stays like other viruses, like the flu.
I don't really know, really. I mean, it's probably gonna last at least another year and a half because people are trying to open things back up again, and it's obviously not gonna work out because we're gonna have coronavirus and it's gonna start spreading like that. So hopefully it ends soon.
I really want to win the hunt. There's just one problem. My mother. Just one day, that's all I need. Just a day without her nagging. While I wish for just one Monday or Friday to be free to slouch and sulk and mumble and be messy and be me. All I ask is for 12 hours to live my life my way. Just one simple, awesome, crazy, epic day. I'd love to be in school, have a day without a care. How I wish you'd understand, see the world my way. For just one day, one day, one day, just one day, just one day. It's not the finding, it's the searching, it's the hunt for who you'll be.
Coach Michael Davis.
What position do you coach?
I coach quarterbacks, and I'm the offensive coordinator.
What do you do when a player is hard-headed to learn?
I feel like that you just got to just keep repping them and showing them video and showing them themselves when they make mistakes. And hopefully they'll understand after they see the mistakes they're making.
How do you deal with a player that's talented but has a hard time thinking very highly of himself?
Well, I think a lot of times stuff like that works itself out. I think the game of football humbles everyone, humbles players, humbles coaches. And I think that, a lot of times that player that thinks a lot of himself, they'll make a mistake, and hopefully that brings him back down to earth a little bit and helps them see that they're not perfect, and they need to be coachable and listen to what's going on.
What's the most memorable thing from coaching?
There's several things. I think, of course, winning state championships, those are ranked right up there. I think being able to coach I got a lot of, good friends on this coaching staff. We've been together for a long time and winning ball games with them. And then I guess probably the most enjoyable, though, is when players that we've had that graduated, they come back to see us. Whether, it's 2 years or whether it's 6 or 7, they bring their kids back, those are, to me, are the enjoyable moments of coaching.
How many times have you felt proud of your players that you have coached?
I feel proud every day. We players never cease to amaze me. Over the years, though, like I said just a minute ago, that the players that graduate, the wins and losses are great, and I'd be lying if I said they weren't. But when our players graduate and they become great citizens, they become great dads, great husbands. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, and that's what we're preparing those young men for. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate you having me.
Hello, my name is Jerry Ordonez, and I'm here with Derek Faleco, and I'm going to be asking him some questions about the 2020 football season. Derek, who's your coach and what do you like about him?
My coach's name is Clay Stevenson. What I like about him is he likes to win and never gives up on us.
Derek, what do you like about the football team?
I like how the team is united and how we work together, make us push further.
What does it take to be on the football team?
What it takes to be on the team is love. You gotta love the game. If you don't love something, you're not gonna be able to do it.
What do you think about the big game coming up this Friday?
It's gonna be a hard one. It's gonna be a very tough one, but we just gotta be well prepared. We have good coaches, and it's gonna be a good game.
Who do you consider to be your inspiration?
My inspiration is Ray Lewis. When he played football, he was a very talented player, and he was so dedicated in the game of football, which made him good. And I admire his dedication, so it makes me work hard.
Thank you, Derek, for your time. This is just a short interview. I wish you and your team good luck this Friday. And remember, kids, go Jackets.
Sorry, Miss Smith. No.
Cut it.
Wrong. Sorry, Miss Smith. This is my show now, not yours. Not actually sorry.
Are we recording?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Take 3.
What is this even about? TED Talk?
Advice.
Advice. I knew that. I know everything. So, advice. Sharing is caring, okay? Look, share your work, share your food, share your mental stability, because we don't all have that, okay? It's not a privilege that everyone can have. Look, I'll tell you a story. Cushy Bee, my good friend Cushy Bee of 8 years.
Hi.
She's filming right now. She's being real stupid about it. I love her, okay? I'm nice. So, it was Wednesday. This is our good friend Gracie. She was like, hey, Cushy, do you have the vocab? And she's like, I don't, but I can acquire it for you. Because sis has my birthday, my email, my full name, my information, okay? So she just logs on to my Google Class or like my Google Docs. And she gets my vocab, which was online, and just sends it over. And she's like, I got you. Okay, and I wouldn't have known. Anyway, speaking of terrifying, I'm gonna tell you a scary story. So 2 years ago, it was October, and there was an away game, and like I was on band, okay, and I was going to the band bus, and it was empty. There was no one in there except for the bus driver, and he was playing some like ambience music. It wasn't lo-fi hip hop. It was definitely just Thriller, but you know, is that Naruto? I'm sorry, someone's dressed up as Naruto. Yeah. Anyways, so I walk into the bus, no one's there, and like the music's playing, and Mary Grace and Chloe like jump out of the seats, like and pop out, and I just like scream, top of my lungs, like something from a movie, because I've just never been so scared of something in my life than that moment. Okay, I have like PTSD.
I have a question.
She has a question.
What do you feel about doing work last minute?
Okay, I know this is bad, but like, your teachers, they're lying to you. They're like, no, you need this essay. It'll take 2 weeks. No, it won't. No, it won't. You can do your work the class before. And if it's like a first period class, you can do it in homeroom. You just have to make the effort. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to just go. Okay, Zoom or be Zoomed. Like, if they expect you to write like an SAT essay or like AP essay in like 45 minutes, then you best believe I'm going to write your class essay in 45 minutes. And it's going to be a dang good essay too, okay? I'm going to get an A on that thing. And I'm going to like, wow, you did such a good job. And they're not going to know. Because I'm just built different breed. I'm an intellectual.
Any high school stories? They may be Uno.
She just wants to talk about this because like she's involved in this. She's a Leo, okay? It's about like she wants to be the one filming, but she's not. This is my show. We are all Leos.
Leo club. Why are you hating on me, dude?
She's a July Leo, so she's not as good as me. Her teacher, Miss Langford, okay, she's the coolest person, like a grand.
Wow, English language.
Look, I'm a math person, okay? I'm sorry. Coolest person, she's like the grandmother I never had, okay? She used to teach in Argentina, so she got up on her little stool and she'd like beckon all the 6th graders and she'd be like, story time, and she'll tell us the coolest stories about like her in Argentina. I'm like, this is the coolest lady I've ever met. I've been cut off. Anyways, sorry, Miss Smith, for taking over your show. I'm not really sorry. Tune in next time to, what even is this called? I feel like
there's gonna be
TED Talks. TED Talks.